Hebrews chapter 10. And in there we find our survival guide. The first thing that you've got to do, first thing that you notice in any movie, there's always somebody who stands up and takes a role of leader, right? And sometimes it's a heroing figure, sometimes it's the cop, sometimes it's the policeman, sometimes it's the animal hunter, sometimes it doesn't matter who it is, sometimes it's a little kid, so it doesn't matter who it is. There's somebody who rises up in these science fiction movies and becomes the leader. And usually it's that person who helps save the day at the end. Usually, we're going to go with that. So the first thing that you've got to do in order to survive is trust in the leader. Now, I'm not talking about a human leader in this case. I'm not talking about a human being in this case. The first thing Hebrews chapter 10 tells us is to trust in God. I don't know how many times we go through this life thinking that there's a problem. We face impossible odds. We face things that we can't see. We face things that we have no idea how we're going to get through. And God says, trust me. I know the way. He says, trust in me. Put your confidence in me. That I can get you out of this. There's going to be a hope. There's going to be a way free. And I'm okay. I'm going to get you out of this. I know what the end looks like. God knows what the end looks like. He's seen it. He's already there. He knows what you're going to have to go through. He's been through it before. He's led people through it before. The Hebrews loves to call Jesus our high priest. And it's a high priest. The job of the high priest is to make sacrifices for the sins of the people. And to make sacrifices to make sure that their relationship is right with God. Jesus is our eternal high priest. We don't have to do sacrifices anymore because Jesus took care of that on the cross of Calvary. The other thing that we notice about the high priest is he has to, before he makes a sacrifice for your sin, he has to make a sacrifice for his sin. So he's right with God. He cannot be separated from this task. He had to kill something for himself and his family before he killed something for us. That way he can identify with the people. We have a high priest in God who came down to our level, lived as one of us, and he identifies with us. He knows what we're going through. He knows what we've been through. He knows what we're going to go through. He knows how we feel about it. And sometimes we don't feel good about it, do we? We don't want to struggle. We don't want to go through problems. We don't want to go. But he says, trust me. I've been there. I'll get you through it. So the first step to surviving persecution and a cheesy sci-fi film is to trust in God. He'll get you through it. A lot of times we want to see God in action. You know, it's hard. It's hard to trust something we can't see, right? It's hard to. It's the whole story of the guy hanging on the end of a rope, and there's fog underneath him. He's been mountain climbing and he slipped, and all he's got to do is grab onto this rope, and that's all he's got for his lifeline, and he can't see what's below him, and he's like, "Help! Help!" And somebody says, "Let go of the rope." You're like, "What? Let go of the rope. Trust me. If I let go of the rope, I'm going to die." So he hung on to that rope for hours. But when the fog finally lifted, he looked down And at his worst possible moment, he looked down and like a foot below him was a ledge. So if he had just let go of the rope earlier, he could have been landing on that ledge and lying there. It's safety. Trusting God is like that. We've got that rope. We can't see anything else. We want to hold on to what we can trust. We want to hold on to our money, our lives, our jobs, our whatever. When all we got to do is just let go of some things. And there's a ledge waiting for us to be picked up. Trust in your leader. Trust in your God. He will get you through it, no matter what it is. Step 2. Step 2 in surviving a cheesy flick. Stay together. We all see these shows, right? There's a group of people here. And then there's this one guy or girl or idiot who thinks he knows how to get away, right? He thinks he knows the answer. Or perhaps he hears a rustling in the woods. Or something, some noise down in the basement. And we all seen those slasher flicks. When the guy goes down to the basement, you yell, "Don't go into the basement. You're an idiot." At least bring somebody with you, you know? And they move forward, and you know what's going to happen. The music starts playing. And in a grand crescendo of when the music hits its peak, you know the villain pops up, or the animal pops up, or the ground below them breaks up because they went off by themselves. Verse 24 says this. Let me go back. Verse 23. Let us hold fast to the confession of hope without wavering, for he who has promised is faithful. And let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together as in the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. We have Christians out there who are sitting at home watching, what's his name on the radio, or watching on the radio, listening to what's his name on the radio, watching to whoever on TV, saying, "This is my church. This is all I need." Heck, some people could be watching or listening to our podcast saying, "This is all I need in my church. It's just me and God and whatever preacher I have talking to me at a time. I don't need to go to church. I can have church right here in my living room." Well, yes. Yes, you can have church right there in your living room. Yes, you can listen to a sermon right there in your living room. But Christianity has never meant to be a solo performance. It has never meant to be a one-man operation. Because if you try to go through this Christian life alone, without people, you are going to die. Maybe not physically, but your spirit won't be filled. Your spirit will be emptied because we need people.